Hey, what's up guys? It's Jason here. Today we're going to be building a very simple do-it-yourself fish stand. It's a very basic design. I'm just going to quickly run through it. I'm not doing this project just for this video. I'm actually making a fish stand for my 90-gallon tank. So I'm just going to run through it really quickly. If you have any questions, feel free to leave comments below and I'll answer your questions as best I can. But yeah, let's get started. So what you're going to need is you're going to need some screws. I have number 8 screws, 2.5 inch. I find 2.5 inches is the best, if not the only one you should use for 2x4s. It's because it's long enough but not too long and not short. So it's the perfect one. Mine are I recommend like the ones that do not require pre-drilling. So it just goes right through the wood. You don't need to drill it ahead of time. Definitely you need an electric drill with the right head for it. First, what you're gonna do is I would listen to this, like watch this whole video first of all, see how I do it, and then you can start buying the wood and cutting it to the desired lengths. So first, you need to create an outline. So the top, make a rectangle, and this rectangle will be the dimensions of your tank. So the tank is going to actually be essentially standing on this rectangle. You don't want it to go, you want every part of the tank to be actually on these sides. You don't want it to be in the air or something. Even though we're going to be putting a piece of wood up here, if it's not on these actual pillars of 2x4s, the weight is not being supported by these guys. It's going to be supported by the plywood that you're going to put on top. So that's not good. You want this dimension to be the dimension of your fish tank. You basically need to have 4 pieces of 2x4s that are basically the length of your fish tank, and then you're gonna need 4 2x4s that is the width or the width of the fish tank as well. But keep in mind that when you put them together, you need to subtract, like the width needs to be subtracted from 2 times this like distance. So basically 2x4 is actually 1.5 inch by 3.5 inch. Do that. So I'm gonna first drill 2 holes here. I don't really have any fancy tools, so just to show you guys that you can do this at home. Alright, now I'm going to do a second rectangle exactly the same as this. That is for the base, one is for the top. Alright, so now what you have done is you have 2 identical rectangular pieces, like this. They're identical. They are going to be the top and the bottom of your fish stand, essentially. Now what you're going to need is you're going to need 4 pieces of 2x4s. The length of this will be equivalent to the height of your fish stand. So if you want your fish stand to be this tall, then you're going to cut it this tall, basically. My fish stand I'm making, it's not going to be too tall. It's going to be pretty short. Is because it is a very narrow tank. So since its width, I mean its width isn't that large. If I make the stand too tall, it might tip over, so you don't want that. So I'm going to keep my stand a bit low, so even if I accidentally bump into it, it's not going to fall down. Nothing bad is going to happen. So you're going to need 4 pieces. That is the height of the stand that you want. And what you're going to do with these 4 pieces is you're going to drill it into this piece of wood. You're gonna do two drills and maybe 2 over there as well. So you're gonna put these 2 pieces on the side like that, and then you're gonna have another piece the same as the width of your, well, I guess in this case the length of your fish tank, the smaller side, and then you're just gonna wedge it into place like that. You're gonna put two drills like that and 2 drills like that. Alright, now that you've done that part, it's time to place the other rectangle that you had on the ground, and then you're gonna flip this one around and place it on top of it, like so. Alright, so what you're gonna do right now is exactly the same thing you did before on the other side. You're gonna put these two down, wedge it in between these 2, and then you're gonna screw the exact same screws that you did before. Alrighty, now that you have that part done, you're almost done. Just to do some final touches because it's not perfect, look for these 4 pillars. If some of them are sticking out a bit, just sand it down, do the final touches. Make sure everything is flat. Alright, so the next step is the most important step, but it's pretty easy. You're going to need 2x4s, the length of this basically. So it's the length of the height minus 3.5 inch minus 3.5 inch. Because 2x4s, it's actually 1.5 inch by 3.5 inch. So it'll be the height of the stand minus 3.5. So it'll be the height of the stand minus 7 inches basically. And if it's too big, not a problem. You just need to find a mallet, smash it in there. If it's way too big, I would sand it down with some like 60 grit sandpaper or something like that. Alright, so I have 8 of these. I'm just gonna shove them in. I sanded them down. I cut it. Some were a bit too long, so it's perfect now. I'm gonna stick it in like this. The battery died while I was making the fish stand, but that is alright because I saw that the battery was low and it was near the end. So basically what I did was I finished off with these side panels, these supports for it. You just put 2 on each side. The reason why, let me see if you can see this. One second. The reason why I put this one like this and that one like that, as opposed to putting this one up front and then putting the other 2x4 like that, is because like this length is longer, so then I want more of the support to go on this side, but it doesn't really matter. Both works. And yeah, now I did that, and I just basically drilled put 2 screws like that. You don't really have to even do this because ideally these supports, you want it to be very like snug, Like you don't want it to be short at all. You want it to have to use like a mallet to hammer it in, because this is essentially what your tank is going to be standing on, these supports. So you don't want it to be loose, because then it wouldn't be supports otherwise. So since they're supports and they're pretty firmly put in, like you don't really even have to screw them in because the weight will prevent it from falling out. But I just do put 2 screws just in case. It's better to put screws than not. Well, that's debatable, but it's probably better to not put, it doesn't matter. What you're gonna do now is I'm gonna probably, this is really good. This will support my fish tank for sure. If you're a bit, like, you can get very technical to see how much weight this supports. This will support it, but if you want, you can even put like 2 pillars down the middle if you want. This is 4 feet long, so it should be okay. I mean, it's not should be okay, it will be okay, but if it was like 6 feet, 8 feet, then I would put some support in the middle. But I'll still probably do that because I want to sort of create like a doorway in the end. I want to make like a cabinet kind of, and I want something in the middle to sort of just separate both of it. And then what I'll be doing is I'll put a piece of plywood on top. It's not necessary, especially since if your tank is what do you call it? Has those side, that word I just lost that word. Has those side like lifted up on the sides. I forgot what it's called. Then this should be fine. Just put your tank on this and it's directly okay. But if it was an acrylic tank or something where the bottom of the glass is flat and it's not, the weight isn't supported on the sides, then I would put a few more wooden blocks here, and then I would like put a sheet of plywood on top as well, just for the looks of it. And yeah, let's test the durability of this. So yeah, if you like this video, like it, subscribe to see more of my other videos, and I'll see you with a new fish video next week for one of my new projects. See you guys then.